Ever look up at a firework display and wonder, how did they do that?
Hmm.
Well, today's deep dive is all about the masterminds behind those awe-inspiring spectacles, pyrotechnic designers.
It's a career that often flies under the radar,
Yeah,
but someone has to blend the artistry with the science to create those moments of wonder.
exactly. And we're diving deep into these sources you shared to give you a real sense of what this career entails. We're talking about what pyrotechnic designers actually do, the skills they need, and what a typical career path might look like.
We'll unpack the exciting parts, of course, but also the challenges, the technology involved, and even touch on the industry's future.
So, no more mystery, right? Let's start by defining what a pyrotechnic designer actually is.
Our sources define a pyrotechnic designer as the creative and technical force behind pyrotechnic displays. They blend artistic vision with, as you said, a deep understanding of the science of pyrotechnics to design those jaw-dropping shows.
Okay, so less about throwing lit matches into a pile of gunpowder.
Yeah.
More about meticulous planning and execution.
Hmm.
But what does that look like day to day? What are their core responsibilities?
Think of them as the architects of these fiery spectacles.
Okay.
They're responsible for everything from developing the initial pyrotechnic design concept to overseeing its execution. They work closely with artistic directors to understand the overall vision of the event, whether it's a concert, a theater production, or a sporting event.
So they're collaborating with the director to make sure the fireworks enhance the performance, not overshadow it.
Precisely. They also work hand in hand with the pyrotechnic operators,
Right.
the ones who physically set off the fireworks, ensuring that the timing, the sequence, and the effects are all perfectly synchronized.
Wow, so they're not just designing the look of the fireworks, they're thinking about the timing and the sequence too.
Absolutely. And that's where the real technical expertise comes in. They need to understand the burn times of different pyrotechnic materials, the safety distances, the potential hazards. They're responsible for ensuring the safety of everyone involved, from the performers on stage to the audience watching from afar.
That's a lot of responsibility. It's not just about making a big flashy display, it's about doing it safely and in a way that complements the overall performance.
Mhm.
It makes you appreciate the complexity behind those big fireworks shows even more.
It really does. And it's not just about choosing between red sparks and green sparks either.
Right.
Pyrotechnic designers need to be well-versed in a wide range of pyrotechnic materials, each with its own characteristics and effects.
Wow.
They need to understand how different chemicals will react, how wind and weather conditions might affect the display.
It's like they're conducting an orchestra, but instead of instruments, they're working with different types of fireworks and explosions to create a symphony of light and sound.
That's a great analogy. And just like a conductor needs to understand the nuances of each instrument, a pyrotechnic designer needs to know how to use each pyrotechnic element to its full potential. They also need to be aware of and adhere to all safety protocols and regulations, which are incredibly stringent in this field. And those safety protocols are really paramount, especially when you think about the work environment.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not your typical office job.
Definitely not. I imagine it's a lot more hands-on, a lot more unpredictable.
Exactly. We're
Really?
talking about working outdoors in all kinds of weather, often with tight deadlines and high pressure.
Yeah,
Think about setting up a fireworks display for a major concert.
right.
You've got a schedule to keep, a crowd waiting, and safety is absolutely critical.
Yeah, so it's a fast-paced, high-stakes environment
Mm-hmm.
that probably weeds out anyone who doesn't thrive on a bit of adrenaline.
You could say that.
Right.
And those long hours we talked about, those aren't just during the event itself. There
Right.
are rehearsals, site visits, coordinating with various teams.
Yeah.
It's not unusual for pyrotechnic designers to work nights, weekends, even holidays.
I imagine the schedule is dictated by the events themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You can't exactly reschedule a New Year's Eve fireworks display because the pyrotechnic designer wants a long weekend.
Exactly. And depending on the scale of the projects, travel might be involved as well.
Yeah, of course.
International tours,
Hmm.
sporting events in different cities. It can be a demanding schedule.
That makes sense. So it seems like a career that requires a lot of dedication, a lot of flexibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's also a career with immense creative potential.
Oh, absolutely.
You're literally painting the sky with light and sound, creating moments of wonder for large audiences.
That's what I was thinking. The pro side of this career seems pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
What stood out to you from the articles about what makes this such a rewarding field?
Well, aside from the obvious cool factor of designing fireworks displays, the sources emphasize the artistic freedom and the creative problem-solving involved. Each project is unique, presenting its own set of challenges and opportunities.
Right.
You're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, experimenting with new materials, new technologies.
I bet there's something incredibly satisfying about seeing your vision come to life in such a spectacular way.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the technical mastery involved.
Yeah.
You're working with complex systems, precise timing, and the laws of physics to create these controlled explosions of color and light.
Yeah.
It's a blend of art and science that's truly captivating.
So you're not just lighting a fuse and hoping
Yeah.
for the best.
Right.
There's real skill and artistry involved in making it all come together flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
But with all this talk of creativity and excitement, we should also acknowledge the elephant in the room, the
Yeah.
dangers associated with working with explosives.
Absolutely. It's inherent to the job, and it's not something to be taken lightly.
Right.
The sources are very clear about that. There's a reason those safety protocols are so stringent, and a reason why pyrotechnic designers need to be incredibly meticulous and responsible.
It's a constant balancing act then,
Yeah,
managing the risks while still pushing the creative boundaries.
precisely. And that's reflected in the industry itself.
Okay.
It's a specialized field, which means the number of available positions can be limited.
That makes sense. It's not like every company needs a pyrotechnic designer on staff.
True. But it also means that if you're passionate about this field, if you're willing to put in the work and really hone your skills, you're entering a very unique and in-demand profession.
And one that's constantly evolving.
Yes.
One thing that caught my eye in the articles was the mention of LED pyrotechnics.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fascinating. What are those exactly, and how are they changing the game?
They're revolutionizing the field, actually. LED pyrotechnics offer the visual impact of traditional fireworks, but without the actual explosive.
Wow.
They use high-intensity LEDs to create those bursts of light and color.
So it's a safer, more environmentally friendly alternative.
Exactly. It opens up new possibilities for indoor events, for venues with strict noise regulations, even for incorporating pyrotechnics into more intimate performances.
That's incredible. It sounds like pyrotechnic designers really need to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to new technologies like this.
Absolutely. And it's not just LED pyrotechnics.
Right.
The articles also mention advances in wireless control systems, which allow for even more intricate and precisely timed displays.
Wow.
This technology is constantly evolving, which makes it a really exciting field to be a part of.
You're never bored, that's for sure. But it also means you can't just rest on your laurels.
Right.
Continuous learning is a must.
Precisely. Which brings us to the career path itself.
Okay.
It's not a field you just fall into overnight.
Right.
It takes dedication and a willingness to work your way up.
So you're saying it's not enough to just be a fan of fireworks.
While a passion for pyrotechnics is a great start, it takes more than that to design them professionally.
So for someone listening who's thinking, this sounds like the coolest job ever, where do I even begin?
Yeah.
What does a typical career path look like? And how do you go from being a spectator to the one designing the show?
One of the articles outlines the typical progression, and it often starts with an entry-level position, like a pyrotechnic assistant.
That makes sense. Start at the ground level, literally,
Yeah.
and work your way up.
Exactly. As an assistant, you'd be assisting more experienced designers, learning the ropes, gaining valuable hands-on experience.
So instead of designing the whole show right away, you're handling the logistics, the prep work, making sure everything's in place for those bigger displays.
Exactly. It's a chance to learn from the best, to understand the safety procedures firsthand, to see how those grand visions translate into practical execution.
Right.
And as you gain experience, you'd move up to roles like junior pyrotechnic designer.
And that's where you start getting more involved in the creative side of things.
Exactly. You'd be taking on more responsibility, designing smaller displays, maybe focusing on specific aspects of larger productions.
Like designing the finale, or a specific sequence timed to the music.
Exactly. You'd be working more independently, but still under the guidance of more senior designers.
So still learning, but with more creative freedom.
Yes. And as you build your portfolio, your expertise, and your reputation, you'd progress to a full-fledged pyrotechnic designer.
That's when you're leading your own projects, right? Calling the shots, making the big decisions.
Exactly. You'd be responsible for designing entire displays, from concept to execution. You'd be working closely with clients, managing budgets, ensuring safety standards, and overseeing the work of pyrotechnic operators.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility, but also incredible creative control.
It is. And for those who excel, who really demonstrate exceptional talent and leadership, there's the role of senior pyrotechnic designer.
Okay, so that's like the CEO of fireworks.
Oh, you could say that. It's a role that combines creative vision with leadership, mentoring, and a deep understanding of the industry as a whole.
I imagine at that level, you're not just thinking about individual shows, but also about the future of the field. New trends, new technologies.
Absolutely. You'd be a mentor
Oh.
to up-and-coming designers. You'd be pushing the boundaries of what's possible with pyrotechnics. You might even be involved in developing new technologies and techniques.
It sounds like a career with a lot of potential for growth, both personally and professionally.
It certainly is. It's a demanding field, but also incredibly rewarding for those who are passionate about it.
Speaking of rewarding, let's talk about how someone can actually break into this field.
Okay.
The articles mentioned RoleCatcher as a great resource.
They do. And it makes sense, considering the resources they offer.
RoleCatcher, for anyone who hasn't heard of it, is like a career Swiss Army knife.
That's a great way to put it. They have a vast library of resources, including career guides specifically for pyrotechnic designers. These guides provide a much deeper dive than we have time for today, covering everything from essential skills to industry connections.
So it's a great starting point for someone who wants to explore this career path in more detail.
Absolutely. But one of the things that really sets RoleCatcher apart is its collection of interview questions.
Yeah.
They have over 120,000 interview questions and answers,
Wow.
tailored to various careers.
Oh,
And yes,
yeah.
that includes pyrotechnic designers.
That's incredible. It's like having a sneak peek into the mind of a hiring manager.
Right.
You can anticipate the questions, prepare thoughtful responses, and really put your best foot forward.
Exactly. They even have AI-powered tools that analyze job descriptions,
Wow.
identify your skills gaps, and suggest areas where you might need to bolster your resume or portfolio.
So it's like having a personalized career coach in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yep.
For anyone listening who's feeling inspired to explore this career further,
Yeah,
RoleCatcher sounds like an invaluable tool.
it really is. And it speaks to something crucial in this field: continuous learning.
Right.
As we've discussed, pyrotechnics is a dynamic industry,
Yeah.
always evolving with new technologies and techniques.
So even after you've landed the job, the learning never stops.
Exactly. Whether it's staying updated on the latest safety regulations
I know.
or mastering new design software,
Mm-hmm.
a pyrotechnic designer needs to be adaptable and always eager to expand their skill set.
It sounds like this career is the perfect blend of creativity, technical expertise, and a touch of daring.
Yeah.
You're creating those wow moments for audiences,
Mm-hmm.
pushing the boundaries of what's possible with fireworks.
And doing so with a deep respect for safety and a commitment to constantly learning and evolving.
Right.
It's a demanding but incredibly rewarding path for the right person.
Well said.
Yeah.
As we wrap up our deep dive into the world of pyrotechnic designers, I'm left with a sense of awe for the artistry and precision involved.
Yeah.
It's more than just fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating moments of wonder, and that's something truly special.
It is.
Yeah.
And for those who are captivated by the magic of pyrotechnics,
Right?
who are drawn to that blend of art and science,
Yeah.
this could be the perfect career path to ignite their passion.
I love that. So for our listeners out there, if you're feeling that spark of interest, don't let it fizzle out. Explore the resources we've discussed, do your research, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one designing the next unforgettable fireworks display.
Well, that would be a sight to see.
Until next time,
Mm-hmm.
keep exploring, keep learning, and as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.